have the, but there's still, yeah, that wasn't a gotcha moment.
Yeah, it was a gotcha moment. And she looked really stupid when she said, well, because they're not mature enough to run anything. It's like, right, exactly. Exactly. They're not old enough to govern. They're not old enough to govern.
Again, in my honest opinion, that wasn't a gotcha. You still didn't prove anything to me. You repeated the exact same thing that she said, and then I go on to say, which is, running the country is not the same as having a vote on what you want. If you pay taxes in said country, you get a say. You know what, fine. Revoke everybody's right to vote under the age of 35, but in that case, I'm not paying any tax. What's more ridiculous thing to say? Now, I will grant this man this. He knows more about American politics than I do. He probably knows more about politics than I do in general. And you know what? Maybe he does have a better idea. Women bitches. Like, take that. A woman said this too. I'm like, it's Andrew Wilson's wife. You really think they're going to have differing opinions? You wouldn't marry someone like Andrew Wilson unless you agree. And honestly, I don't like usually saying pick me. And in this case, who the f is picking her except the likes of Andrew, which is essentially like, okay, you have been picked, but like, that's not a flex. She's like insufferable.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of a flex. I do okay for myself. Yeah.
So, again, you could argue that the massive side rant I went on about Andrew Wilson's wife was pretty unnecessary, but my dislike for Andrew Wilson's wife is she is kind of like what happens. You know how you get these you get a lot of like trans YouTube creators, right, who make content about other trans people digging on them and saying like, you're not a real woman, for example.
I've never even understood how that's a dunk. It's just objective reality. It has nothing to do with how much I love her.
Again, I find it really interesting to hear a Christian talk about objective reality when it comes to appearances. It's very interesting. I find this debate and this intensive interest about appearance from people like Andrew very, very crazy for a Christian. I mean, again, I'm no Christian, so please forgive me while I reference the Bible. I don't really understand too much, but all it takes is a quick research to see multiple references to self-worth and appearance being not really a commodity of value to mankind, and more about your inner beliefs and values and the fact that you are a product of God, therefore you are perfect and beautiful the way you are. To me, that would imply that people made by God are perfect beings under his own creation. So I feel like when you are arguing with people telling them they're not 10 out of 10, I would argue why you are doing that. I'd argue how that fits in with your core beliefs. Again, I'm not a Christian, so I may be completely wrong, but look, and murdered and not, oh, maybe they should be emotional when they go to war. And obviously, every gender, there should be appropriate scenarios where you're not emotionally and high strung. Of course, I agree that there are jobs where women can't be too emotional. For example, you're on a ward dealing with some child, for example, that's been blown up in a war and you're trying to stitch them back together. Yeah, I don't think crying and having some, as you guys would like to call it, hysterical attack would benefit anybody. But I don't see why women are being labeled as the emotional creatures when there is no biological element that makes women more emotional than men. People say hormones, but men, you do realize testosterone is also a hormone. Testosterone causes your hormones to be all over the place. And it's funny when men's hormones are all of a sudden very real too. But being quite close-minded, I am listening. I'm very much listening. I would be interested, and I am interested to hear your opinions, hence why I'm watching this. But yeah, project. I think that is very much projection.
Even learning the context behind what I say. No?
Ladies and gentlemen, our killer is none other than Head and Shoulders. I don't know you had dandruff. I don't.
You don't have dandruff with new Head and Shoulders Pro Expert 7.
We don't.
Fight 7 scalp issues for up to 100% dandruff protection.
Join me, Roman Kemp, and me.
Person, which I do condemn him chopping something up and I guess not being intellectually honest. I do think that is snaky. But for the people out there that also are aware of the context of the post that he posted, it doesn't help you either. It doesn't mean you're going to lie about me saying I'm a liar.
How about a conversation where I'm allowed to actually defend myself? Go over to the comment section on the I Hate This Man video. Go down to that comment and comment underneath it. Also like the comment.